Hello internet, my name is Persephone and welcome to my channel. Today is the day, the one so many of you been waiting on. Today we talk about level 80 speed druids. I have multiple speed druid videos I've made over the years. I try to make a new one anytime the meta shifts, and at the end of Dragonflight, it shifted. With the Dragonflight pre-patch came the usual rebalancing of gear and stat changes, which originally boosted the crap out of speed druids and then crippled them. Originally with the rebalancing, the speed increase from Longstriders scaled to an astronomical percent, meaning with very little effort, people were able to get their speed at or near 400%, which honestly was way too fast. For that short time, I was ping-ponging around indoor dungeons so much you could call me a bouncy ball. Blizzard took notice though, and went back to the Longstrider scaling and hit it so hard with the nerf stick it actually got cut over half from the previous expansion speed. All through Dragonflight, each Longstrider item gave 17% each. Now they give 8. This is important information to set the foundation of the War Within speed druids with, because Longstrider is the biggest single item speed boost we have, so we have to set our expectations accordingly when discussing the War Within. You'll want to start with either a Zandalari Druid for the extra 5% movement speed from their racial, or a Night Elf Druid for the 2% movement speed from theirs. Other druids will work, but you're sacrificing the extra speed. With that being said, to start this gearing process, you'll have to start just like any other speed druid guide since BFA, with the 3 set of Longstrider traits and the Heart of Azeroth. Just like before, you'll have the Flash Powder Hood from Tol Dagor, the gold tasseled epaulets from Freehold, and the Venture Company Plenipotentiary Vest, which I still haven't learned to pronounce, from the Motherlode. You'll want to run all of these on normal, as going up in difficulty will not net you a faster character. Thankfully, unlike my level 61 speed druid guide, you will not need a friend to run with you. You will need your Heart of Azeroth though, so make sure you unlock it before heading to the dungeons. After obtaining your Longstrider items, you'll want to head over to the auction house to pick up most of the remaining items you need. You want to find bracers, gloves, belt, pants, a weapon, and 2 rings with crit and speed on them. Getting sockets on any of these items is even better. Your goal is to have 6 sockets, but if you can only find a couple, it's okay because we can add sockets onto the rings later. The way I find my speed gear is by going over to the Undermine.exchange website and digging through the servers lists. You can search for speed items specifically, but unless you play on a high pop server, there's a very good chance you will either be paying way too much per item or will not find it on your server at all, which is where this website comes in. You can go to the left-hand side and choose armor, then leather. You will then search by slot instead of speed. This next step is going to take some time, but could potentially save you hundreds of thousands of gold. You'll find an item that will work for you. For example, I could choose Under Scout's Cord of the Peerless, as Peerless will always have crit on it. And firstly, checking the ones available on my server on the right-hand side, and then scrolling down to the bottom and filtering the realms with the most of the item to the top, as they are more likely to have speed items available. If you don't find something in your first look, go back to the list of items, click on another eye level or stat combo and try again. The combos you'll want to stick to are Peerless, Fire Flash, and Quick Blade, as those are the ones with crit on it. The eye level of the piece isn't nearly as important, as the gear is all the same track and can be upgraded to the same max eye level, with a little bit of grinding. Once you find the item, go to the server and purchase it. With the addition of warbands, this method is much easier than it ever has been, because you can just make a level 10 allied race, pull the gold out of your warbank, purchase item, toss the item and any leftover gold into the bank, log out and delete the alt. Run repeat until you have your set. Make sure that if you're buying this at a future season and not when this video goes live, you're buying the sets that are from your current season. I do not recommend putting a speed druid together before season 2 starts, as the higher eye level gear from the next season will have more of all the secondary and tertiary stats and therefore make you faster. For boots, all you need is a pair you can throw the appropriate enchant on, and because the enchant has an eye level cap, it limits the current expansion gear. Because I still want speed on it if I can help it, I went with the Shadowlands crafted boots and made them myself at eye level 262 with the Pure Air sail extensions and a missive critical strike. For my cloak, I chose to go with the level 80 green with speed on it, but you do have 2 options. You can go with the lower eye level items so you can get the enchant cloak Gift of Critical Strike from WoD. In my case, the cloak and enchant I went with gives me the same percent of speed as the lower eye level option, And even though it was more expensive, it means that it's one less item I have to carry around to have a speed set and a current content set. Not to mention, as the expansion goes on, the current items will ultimately outpace the lower level cloak with 2% enchant, and I won't be willing to switch to it unless I somehow hit the speed cap, which I don't see happening. Lastly, in the gearing category is trinkets. As of right now, I think the two best trinkets to use are the Nerubian Pheromone Secretor from the Ashkahet vendors, with the Crit and Haste fragrances, and the Entropic Scarden Core from the Rookery. The reason being that both of these trinkets give crit, and getting to crit cap will ensure the Longstrider gives you the appropriate speed boost. If for whatever reason you get to crit cap without the need for either or both of these trinkets, a really great easy trinket to get your hands on would be the Quick Wick Candlestick trinket from Delves, which gives you a 20% movement speed buff on a 2-minute cooldown. To farm the trinket from the Rookery, you can either do normal dungeon spam or do what I did, which is follower dungeons, so I didn't have to worry about other people making my progress slower. It only drops for casters though, so make sure you set your loot specialization to Boomy or Resto to obtain it. In Season 2, the Rookery is going to be a Mythic Plus dungeon, which gives way to get this trinket at a boosted eye level either from Heroic or Mythic, or even from Mythic Plus, which could give enough of a boost to eliminate the need for the Ashkahet trinket. Once you have the gear, you need to gem and enchant it. Firstly, you'll want to make sure you have at least 6 sockets. If you weren't able to get them when you were looking for the gear, don't worry, you can grab up to 4 sockets, 2 on each ring, with the Magnificent Jeweler's settings. You'll then want to put an elusive Blasphemite and one of every color gem into those sockets. If you don't have 6 sockets, prioritize the Deadly Ruby first. The reason we are putting these gems in is because every unique color of gem in your gear will award you 2% movement speed, so having all 5 colors will grant you an additional 10%. After the sockets, you'll want to grab 2 Enchant Ring Radiant Critical Strikes, Chant of Armored Speed for Bracers, Enchant Weapon Council's Guile, Enchant Boots Minor Speed, and depending on which cloak option you went with, either Chant of Burrowing Rapidity for a current content cloak, or Gift of Critical Strike for a lower eye level version. Moving on to talents. They haven't changed much. You want to make sure you pick Feline Swiftness, Tiger Dash, Forest Walk, Stampeding Roar, and Improved Stampeding Roar on the main tree. On the Feral specific tree, you want Lunar Inspiration, so you can cast Moonfire in cat form, Predatory Swiftness, so you can benefit from the speed bonus received from Forest Walk easier. You'll also want to go with Incarnation Avatar of Ashamain, so you can prowl in combat and drop aggro on any pesky mobs who refuse to follow you. As far as the hero talents go, you can choose whichever set you personally enjoy. As far as I can tell, the speed bonus offered by both is basically the same. I went with Druid of the Claw though, as Windstalker requires you hitting Barkskin for the speed bonus, whereas the increase from Pack's Endurance is applied passively to an ability you would already be hitting. Lastly, consumables. At level 80, we have a few useful ones that can be stacked. You'll want to keep on hand. The well-fed buffs from Exquisitely Eviscerated Muscle and Pep in Your Step stack. You'll need to remember to reapply the pep buff every 10 minutes though. And the Flask of Tempered Aggression. If the flask is too pricey, you can always use the charged Phial of Alacrity, which still adds a decent plus speed bonus at a much cheaper cost. Obviously, this is a lot of information, so here's a quick TLDR for anyone who feels confident they don't need the step-by-step. You want Longstrider bonuses, the new green blues at max level, crafted Shadowlands boots, and trinkets with as much crit as you can. Don't forget the sockets. GG, go fast. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button. If you want to see more videos by me, make sure to subscribe. And don't forget to comment any questions, compliments, or concerns you may have down below.